There you are.
We're live, guys. Welcome to the show, Samurai Live today. Today we got the deck framed up. I'm going to go over a bunch of tips with you. First, I'm going to give you a demonstration on how we do the fascia. So when you're framing a deck, the fascia is a critical element. It's what people see when they approach the deck, right? So you want your fascia to be perfect every time. Now you can see that I've installed these 3/4 inch pressure treated plywood strips on the outside of my framing. Now what this does is it spaces off your fascia, keeps your fascia off of your framing, creates a 3/4 inch air gap in behind your fascia. So that way any water that gets under your decking will be able to drain down out of that space and evaporate and dry. And your fascia won't be tight against your framing, which would just trap water and cause your fascia to rot out and warp and just do all sorts of ugly stuff. So the other benefit of that is that these blocks allow you to straighten your framing. If your framing's got a little bit of a wow in it, or the boards are warped or whatever, you can adjust the blocks with shims to make sure your fascia is going to sit perfectly flat on the front of your deck. And another trick that I do is I keep my block a couple inches back from the edge of the framing so that this mitered corner on the outside here doesn't have any framing behind it. It's just floating. And so it allows me to, a lot of times the board that you're using, especially if you're using rough sawn wood, it allows you to kind of bend the board a little bit and close up that outside miter. So that's a huge bonus when you're putting on fascia, to have a little air space in behind it so that you can adjust the joint to fit nice and tight. So what I've done here is I've got my other miter already cut. I let the board run wild past the edge of the deck. And I take my framing square, check the thickness of the board that's going to be mating to that one. About 1 1/16 because I'm working with rough sawn material. So then I'll run my framing square up here. You getting a good view of this?
Yep.
I'll mark 1 1/16. Right, because I'm butting up against the blocks where it's going to mount. I'll transfer that mark over to the outside edge. Right, so that's the outside plane of the board. Square that down. You can score it with your knife if you want.
Problem with the audio.
What?
Bad connection.
Is that working?
It says bad audio. A lot of people are saying bad audio. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? The audio better?
No. Says it was better last time. Not as good this time.
Sorry guys, sorry for the audio. Just keep it up close to me, I guess.
Alright.
So I'm gonna just score this with my knife. Most of you guys don't like my annoying voice anyways. There, I'm going to adjust my saw to 46 degrees, just a degree past 45.
Hey, Dominic Morelli, Frank Paulino, Matt Gillespie, Carlos 1332. Thanks, guys.
All right. So when you adjust your degrees on your saw to a hair past 45, that ensures that the heel of your miter isn't going to hit and leave a gap out front. It'll make sure that the outside of your joint is nice and tight. And we're going to glue this joint together. So I'm just going to cut this sucker.
Emi High Pop from Romania, Jafach. Hey, Jamie Taylor. Thanks. Hey, Uruguay. India.
I'm just going to hit this with my low angle block plane to smooth it out a bit.
Thanks Jonas Becker from Germany. Tomislav Midzik from Croatia. Drew Patterson. Hi from Michigan.
Now the moment of truth. Let's do a little dry fit here.
Sweden is watching. Ireland, Arizona, Holstein, Iowa, SFSF, Texas, Jacob Warnick.
Jacob, check this out.
Thanks, Linus Weinberg.
Got a nice close up here.
Yeah.
So you can see that miter is gorgeous. Gonna put some PL Premium on there, construction adhesive.
Thanks, Linus, for the super chat.
Oh yeah, we got some super chats. Linus, shout out. Okay.
In California, South Africa, UK, Michigan, Mo Bowles.
I can't believe all these people are watching me build it. Crazy.
Taiwan.
Oh, the future. Alright, take a look at this glue here.
Okay.
Alright, so I put a nice bead of the PL Premium on there. This stuff's nasty if you get it on your hands. You can see my hands are all black from yesterday. You want to just spread that out on your joint. You got a nice even glue spread.
Thanks, Andre Witchert.
So for you guys that are new to this whole live feed thing, the way the super chat works is if you want your comments or your questions to be read, or you're wondering about what I'm doing, the super chat makes it a lot easier for us to be able to see that, because if you make a donation, I think $3 to $5, your chat will stay on the top of the screen and give us time to read your question, be able to answer it, give you a shout out, that sort of stuff. And another thing is it's nice is if you're building a deck or you're actually really taking all this information in and it's adding value to your life, it's kind of like your way of just giving me a tip, buying me a beer, saying thanks, whatever. So I greatly appreciate, you know, the donations and the super chats that you guys give me. And I'll take a minute at the end to give you guys a shout out, go through the list of all the super chats. And your shout outs will be forever immortalized in my video on my channel. Together now.
Hey, Zara Mintiaz. Thanks, Yamil Hernandez. Why use a nail on that board instead of a screw?
I'm using a screw. These are a trim head screw. It's got a super small head like a finishing nail with a little star bit in it. That allows
Hey, Wisconsin checking in. Ben Tireman, do you ever use Shellac Samurai? Do you ever use shellac?
I don't have much experience with shellac. It's kind of an old school finish, and I never ever used it on job sites. I always used like polyurethane.
Hey, Crazy Lohal. Nick Hitchens, $5. Thanks, man. Been watching you forever. Have a beer on me.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. I will have a beer. Possibly two. Thanks to guys like you. That's awesome.
Samurai is the best in Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. Oklahoma. Okay, so if you take a look at the joint here, I'll shift it a bit.
Thanks, Steve.
That's the nice thing about doing it with screws. So you get to to back them out.
How do I make a super chat?
You click the little message icon at the bottom of the page there. Click on Super Chat, and it'll confirm your Google Wallet or something like that. I'm pretty new to this myself, but it should walk you through the steps of how to make a donation, and they'll leave a little option for you to leave a message or ask a question, and then you just follow it through, and it should pop up on the screen.
Thanks, Dean Johnston from Scotland. Crazy Lowell. That's okay, we're still running. Mike Tall from Sweden. More about those French doors, please. Addy 29.
What's that?
More about those French doors, Addy 29.
Those were a lot of work, I'll tell you that. So once you got your fascia up, obviously every 16 inches, put 2 screws. Try and keep them as close to the outside edge of the board as possible, like an inch in. That prevents the board from wanting to cup. Alright, so now I'm going to grab the camera from my man Justin. Thanks for being my cameraman. I'm going to go over the design features of this type of framing, why it's going to last longer than just typical framing jobs that you would get from a contractor or if you did it yourself. Here's some good tips.
Thanks, Matt.
DJI Go app's not on. Alright guys, so gotta get this camera stabilization figured out. So you can see the spaces that I've got in here. Now when you're framing a deck, your outside perimeter of your deck should always be a double lamination. So I've got two 2x10s screwed together here. And then what happens is you get that joint in the middle, right? You don't want that because water's just gonna leach in there and it's never gonna be able to dry out. Right, so that's why I put this Vicor peel and stick membrane over there. Thanks guys, man, the comments keep coming. Appreciate all the comments, guys. David, $4, thanks man, that's huge. Appreciate that. So I put this peel and stick membrane over here, and that prevents water from being able to seep in between the 2 laminations. So you can see that I've done that all the way around the perimeter, as well as I've got this nice 3/4 inch air gap, right? So that means your fascia and the outside perimeter of your deck is never gonna rot out. Thanks guys, I'm happy to help. That's what this channel is all about, right? It's just giving people information how to build things properly. Yes, my PayPal is still, whoa, $10. That's huge. Cover me Parkins. I don't understand that name at all. Oh, hold up, let's go back to that. Hey, Samurai, my name's Chris Upton. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. Oh, sorry, I'm still working the screen out here. This is ridiculous. Love the channel. Just getting into woodworking. Like the workbench, that's awesome, man. Thanks so much. So, another tip here is these joist hangers. You're probably saying everybody knows you put joist hangers on, but one thing to know about these joist hangers is nowadays, I don't know how things are in your end of the country, but here in Canada, the pressure-treated wood, they took some of the toxic chemicals out because they were killing people. Oh, we had another super chat there. What? No. $50? Oh man, you are the man, Oscar. Thanks so much. That's insane. What? I can't get my head around that. $50, that's insane. Oh my gosh. Is that, no, not 2. Did you do, no, did you do 2? Oh, that's crazy. Okay, so what I was saying about the joist hangers is that the new pressure-treated wood, this ACQ pressure-treated wood, I think they've increased the level of zinc or some mineral that they put in the wood, and it causes it to react with metal like crazy. And so you got to use these special hot dipped joist hangers. Is this thing focusing on my face? Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Chris Nash. Yeah, I can talk. Chris Nash, thanks for the contribution. So you got to use these special hot dipped joist hangers. If you don't use the hot dipped, you just use the regular zinc plated ones, they're going to just corrode and rust out in a couple of years. So make sure you get the Z-Max or the hot dipped galvanized hangers if you ask the people at your lumber store. But even those hangers, I've noticed being on jobs, coming back to deck jobs to look at stuff that I've built, years later, they're still even, no, that can't be. Are you kidding me? Linus, you just gave me $100 donation? What? That's awesome, man. Wow. Give you double if you drywall the whole house on cam. It would have to be 10 times that much. I hate drywall. Drywall. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Linus. That's insane. So what I've done is on these, I took that same spray-on tar membrane and I sprayed tar on the back of that so that the metal's actually not coming in contact with the wood. So there's no contact area because it's got a tar membrane, so that should help keep the corrosion down on these joist hangers and make them last a lot longer, right? So that's another tip for you. As well, as you can see, the most important part is right here. You want to be able to put the spaces against the building as well. So any rainwater that's coming down off your siding, right? I'm going to put a flashing on here, double flash this anyways. But if any moisture gets in behind there, it'll always dry out. So your rim joist, where your whole deck mounts to your house, will never rot if you use these 3/4 inch pressure treated plywood spacers, right? And then code calls for a lag every 16 inches. So I just alternate one at the top, one at the bottom, one at the top, one at the bottom, stagger them going all the way along. If you can put more legs on, put 2 every 16 inches, that's good. Check with your local building codes. And then a couple of you guys asked on the last video, you wanted to know about the flashing details. The flashing detail that I did on this beam, I hope you can get some good lighting here. You can see I put a flashing right here on top of this beam. So the whole beam is capped with a flashing that's got a drip edge that comes out about 2 inches on either side with a light slope to it. So any water that hits that beam is going to pour out on this drip edge and actually drip outside the perimeter of the beam. So you won't have any water running down your beam whatsoever, and it won't even land on this little ledge, this detail of the post. The water's going to drip right past the post. So that should keep your beam dry, which is obviously the most important structural element on your deck. So keeping that beam flashed is critical. Most people just lam up a bunch of 2x10s right here and frame their deck on top of it, and water's getting into that and soaking your beam, and eventually your beam's gonna rot like crazy. So it's really important that you flash that beam. Thank you so much, Steve Mayer, appreciate that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Where did that go? Man, so many super chats. That is awesome, you guys. Man, this is just a huge blessing. I love YouTube love. Yeah, $6 pays for a beer. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate that, Steve. I don't know if Shosugiban. No, that's in a different currency. Ankur. Appreciate that. Huge donation from Ankur. Why are they disappearing and not staying on the screen? Gotta scroll back. Okay. Thanks so much, Ankur Kashyap. Appreciate the donation, that's huge. So another thing you want to learn here is anchoring down. Now I've got these Simpson Strong straps here with a 1/2 inch by 4 inch lagging down, and then it's lagged into the side of the framing. I put 3 of those on there to hold the deck down to my beam, stabilize everything. In case of an earthquake, this deck ain't going nowhere. Duffy Weiss, appreciate that, man. Oh, this camera's gotta work on my skills with the gimbal here. So you can see that we're clearing out all the dirt and everything underneath. What we're gonna do is put 2 layers of a 6 mil poly down on the dirt, cover all the rock, and then we're gonna cover that with about 4 inches of pea gravel. And what that will do is all the water that comes through the deck hits the ground. That'll divert that water. Oscar Castrone, $10. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. That's huge. Jay Key from Germany, another 10 pounds. It's huge. Thanks. 10 euros. I don't know all this currency exchange stuff. That's the trippy part. People are donating in their own currency. I don't know what it converts to, but they're huge donations. I appreciate it, guys. That's awesome. These tips. I'll keep the tips coming, guys. Don't worry about that. So we're going to put the 6 mil poly on the ground, cover that with pea gravel, so all the water that comes through the deck will be diverted, and we're going to divert it down to a drain in this corner here. I'm going to dig down and connect it into my perimeter drain. So that'll keep water away from the perimeter drain on this building, which is kind of old and I don't want to replace it. So I'm going to just divert as much water away from the building as possible. Keep my perimeter drains from clogging up. As well as that prevents any weeds or growth of plants underneath your deck. You want to keep all organic growth underneath your deck away. Right, so putting a weed barrier or a plastic membrane down is going to help save your deck as well. Because if you start, when your deck's got that shade underneath it, right, that's where all the moss and stuff wants to grow. So keeping all organic growth, plants, soil, that sort of stuff out from underneath your deck is going to extend the life of your deck as well. Keep it nice and dry and free from fungus and all that sort of nonsense. So I'm still waiting on my sawmill guy to get me my decking, but I'm going to be putting a 2x6 rough sawn timber decking. 20 from Linus. Another? What? My goodness. Is that the same Linus? Linus, you're just throwing it out. I don't know what currency that is, but those are huge donations. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate that. So that's pretty much all the tips we got here. Another thing, if you're wondering about these blocks we got in between here, building codes are calling for every 7 feet of span of your deck, you need to put the blocking in between the joists. Now what that does is it just stiffens up. Jay Parby, thank you, $2, that's awesome, man, appreciate that. So what this blocking does is it just connects all your joists together so that your deck is a lot stiffer, feels a lot more solid when you're standing on it. So if you've got a deck that's spanning more than 7 feet, you want to put this blocking in. It's a little bit overkill for an 8-foot deck, but I thought I'd throw it in there anyways because I like it to be solid when I stand on it, you know? So typically you'd do like a 14-foot deck, you'd have to have a row of blocking in the middle, that sort of stuff. Oscar, another 20, that's awesome. I don't know what currency that is, but I appreciate it. What kind of porn was I addicted to? Porn's porn, bro. I'm not into the weird stuff, that's for sure. But those years are beyond me now, so I'm not into that stuff anymore. I'm thankful that I got that crap out of my mind. Still a struggle from time to time, I will admit that. But I assure you that life without porn is so much better. Your brain works better, everything works better when you get off porn. So, let's see what else we got going on here. Those are pretty much my tips, guys. I think we've been going for a while now, so I'm going to cut it off here, guys. I appreciate so much all the super chats. Anybody I miss, Chris Nash, Oscar, Cover Me Parkins, David Wallstrom, Matt Ridgway, Nick Hitchens, Yamil Hernandez, Stephen Robinson, Andre Wickert, and Linus. You guys are studs. I appreciate so much. Huge shout out to you guys, my brothers, supporting the channel. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, guys, you can always comment on this video after it's been uploaded to my channel, and I'll try and get those questions answered. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Till next time, Samurai out.